So today is Tuesday, and that means Trading Tip Tuesday. I wanted to loosely discuss two things that I'll probably revisit in the future, but back testing and price discovery, as well as forward testing. I don't know why when people ask me about back testing, I feel like it's an insult because they can just do it themselves. So like if I'm presenting a system, I assume that it's profitable because I've used it. But I understand outside people not knowing a system or not understanding what to do. So let's talk about backtesting. Let's talk about price discovery. I honestly prefer forward testing to backtesting because there's always outside influencing factors to decision making outside of the system you're using, right? The trading system. So the idea is you have a trading system, you see how it did previously. If it's successful, you apply it and you use it. You incorporate it into your trading system, right? So I did this article June 2nd, right? And I'm not tooting my own horn here. I'm just saying, here's an example of live backtest forward testing, okay? Let's look at what I talked about in this article, specifically talking about price discovery, talking about where price may go. Because then if you buy into this as part of your system, you can say, all right, I'm going to incorporate this into BTC, into ETH, into XMR, into Link, into LTC, EOS, Ripple, whatever. BNB is a good example of price discovery that's approaching Binance Coin. So I did this article June 2nd, and we talked about a few things. I talked about a few things in the article. I talked about Fibonacci extensions, which are arguably magic numbers. And what you do is you pick a high and a low. It can be any high, any low, and you project, in this case, upwards if it's price discovery, which is the definition being there have been no traded prices at this level ever. There can be price discovery to the downside as well if you are pushing all-time lows, which is possible in some of the BTC, the alt BTC pairs, not necessarily the USD pairs. So if we apply Fibonacci extensions, you pick 2 points, it's on TradingView. You get the 1618. I've added the 2618 as well. On occasion, you'll see alts push the 3618, which has happened a few times for Ethereum. But if you're looking at extensions, I'd at least expect a 1618, a 2618, and a 3618 shouldn't be expected, but should be watched for if price is pushing that level, obviously. So again, this was June 2nd, and I said, okay, let's look at the extensions here. There's an extension at 6 on both of these highs and lows. Now you can pick whatever you want. You can pick all-time high, all-time low, whatever whatever makes sense for you. For me, it's usually just range high, range low. You could have picked this low. You can see that it doesn't really matter. Like these extensions are kind of the same, even if you pick this high low, which made the most sense to me. Just based on the range, it's pretty clear that there's a defined range here. So you get levels of 670 and 975, okay? And if we pop on where price actually went, it exploded beyond those levels. Not unheard of, not impossible. This is definitely a 3618 move here, for sure. I didn't add it to the chart, but that's what this is. Again, you shouldn't expect the 3618 every time. But if you just add it to the chart, you can map it out and say, okay, in June 2nd, I was saying, guys, this might go to 980 or whatever. And it went way past that, right? This is just one part of the tool set you can use for expectations for price discovery. Again, this was the back testing. Like, if you don't believe it, that's fine. I don't care. I don't know how to say it in a nice way, because I get asked about backtesting a lot because I just present data on Twitter, sort of a one and done, not really saying like this is how many times it's been successful, whatever. So here it is. Here's the backtesting for Fib extensions. One example, N of 1, okay? Let's move on to yearly pivots. Yearly pivots are mathematical highs and lows based on the previous year. Those do not change. They are static, much like the Fib extensions, right? These aren't going to change. The highs and lows are set. So it is what it is. Same thing with the yearly pivots. Typically in a year, any coin, any asset, whatever, doesn't reach the R5, which is like the 5x from the pivot, right? You get your base pivot based on the highs and lows of the year, and then it calculates the resistance levels above that, the support levels below that. You typically don't reach the R5. So this was 2019, right? This again was June 2nd. I said, okay, where are the levels here for the yearly pivots, right? where is price going to find resistance? Where is it going to find support on the way down from these levels? This is simply a button click on TradingView. You don't have to do anything else. It calculates it for you. That's why I like it. I'm lazy. It does everything for you, right? And what do you know? It hit the R5 again. It exceeded the R5. Just like 2019, it exceeded the R5 a little bit. This year, it exceeded the R5 even more. So next year, these pivots are going to be wider because of price volatility. And, you know, I got to say, it's unlikely that it hits the R5 3 years in a row. Obviously not impossible, but you can see the type of price move that takes to happen, right? But at the same time, it's not saying like this isn't an impossible number if we're in price discovery. It's saying these are the possibilities. The chart doesn't care what the number is, right? It's just this is math. This is the possibilities based on price action of the previous year. So forward testing, back testing, whatever you want to call it. For this specific example, yearly pivots, highly valuable for deciding if I'm in price discovery, where should I start to get out of this trade? Obviously, everyone's euphoric mania. You know, Link is the best thing since sliced bread. You got bots on Twitter yelling at you to buy Link. Why aren't you a Marine? You filthy animal, that sort of thing. And R5 is staring at you on June 1st, by the way. These print June 1st or January 1st every year. It said, this is where price may go. Was it the top? No. Was it the top in 2019? Yeah, it was. It's not always going to be the case that it's a top. Sometimes it goes way past the R5 like BTC did in 2017. But it's a good metric to start with, at the very least, you know. Gives you a true north as far as where you think price may go for the year. Let's look at another one I've incorporated into the fold, into my trading tool belt, the 2-year MA multiplier. Again, this one's free on TradingView. The bottom green line here is in this case, for Link, it's the half-year MA. So depending on how much trade history coins have, use the half-year MA or the yearly MA. BTC's case, 10 years of trading history, you can use the 2-year MA. But for ETH and Link, you can't really. So here's the 183, which is half a year, half 365, half year MA. This is the multiplier of this green line. In this case, it's the 3x multiplier. You do have to curve fit this a little bit. If the highs and lows look good on backtesting, right? This is the best part of this indicator. Just the backtesting, forward testing is right there in front of your face. It caught the lows, it caught the highs. What else do you want to see, right? So this is dynamic, unlike yearly pivots and Fibonacci extensions. This is dynamic in that the moving average will continue to change. Obviously, if price is increasing, it's going to increase. The multiplier is going to increase with it. This was June 2nd. If we fast forward to now, where did that MA multiplier catch price? Almost cleanly at the exact high, right? So eerily perfect. It's amazing, right? Again, catching highs, catching lows. What else do you want from an indicator? Especially in price discovery when people, let's be honest, don't have the right mindset for trading, right? In euphoria, I can tell you this from 2013, I can tell you this from 2017, 2018. The psychology is difficult for people who are new, for people who are trading every day. It's hard to see clearly. It's hard to see that this stuff is now a new paradigm, not going to go to infinity. It's going to retrace eventually. So I will continue for Link's case to watch this moving average multiplier, right? Because if it catches the highs and lows, what else do I want, you know? And again, this is another one of those things, you just click a button on TradingView, boom. You don't have to, you know, measure waves or even measure fib extensions, right? It's just automatically there. It's dynamic. It's going to continue to change. So even though this backtesting had an N of 1 or 2 on the highs, right? It was still predictive enough that it said, you know what, this is overbought. It's going to cool off here. And if you couple this with the R5, for example, you can say, okay, it's over the R5. It's over the MA multiplier. It's over the 3618, you know. Use those together and say to yourself in price discovery that it's probably okay to take some off my position here, or close my position, or put a tighter stop loss on my position, or decrease my leverage, or start hedging here. You know, all those conversations you can have with yourself. One more thing I want to look at that for some reason no one likes is the Pitchfork. I like it a lot because it is a trend channel with specific rules. Again, predicting highs and lows is the goal here. And we pick 3 points. If price is valid, if price fits this trend, then we say, all right, game on. Pitchfork is valid. We got our highs here, or highs here, lows here. This is dynamic again. Has a little bit of a time component. You can sort of predict price at a specific day, arguably. Price wants to live in the yellow median line. But these are the highs, these are the lows. N of 1, right, for each of those, right? This is June 2nd. Again, if we fast forward to now, highs, lows, high again. So let's add this to the tool belt. We say, okay, we have Fibonacci extensions, 3618. We have R5, yearly pivot. We have MA multiplier. And now we have Pitchfork. And all of a sudden we can say to ourselves, maybe we have a trading plan here for price discovery. Maybe there are reasonable expectations for price at specific levels if price gets there, right? If this, then that decision tree. If we break all these levels, it's probably time to let some gas off the pedal on the long position. And again, price retraced to the median line as expected. That's price wants to live in the median line. So if we use all that knowledge we just talked about, forward testing, back testing, price discovery, and we look at BTC and ETH, BTC on the left, ETH on the right, what are the levels for BTC? We're looking at some crazy levels, right? Emotionally crazy. It is what it is numbers wise. We're talking 18K to 26K, conservative for BTC. We're talking 480 to 750 conservative for ETH on Fib extensions, which wouldn't be price discovery yet for ETH, just something to consider. If we look at the R5 on BTC, we're talking 30K plus, 33K, something around there. R5 for ETH, 750. If you look at the MA multipliers, this is the 2-year and 5x, that is 41K already. And that'll continue to slowly increase because it's dynamic. If we look at ETH, the 1-year MA multiplier is at 1230 with an N of 2, predicting the highs. The lows have been sloppy and messy, not the best. Anything trend-wise with high data capture and a high volatility environment is going to have trouble. So maybe not the best metric to use for ETH in this case, but this gives you some idea, right? Ballpark, where this might go. Ballpark, where BTC might go, 41K next cycle as far as the all-time high. And it's predicted it pretty well so far since 2014. Predicted the lows very nicely as well. Pitchfork for BTC, again, there's a bit of a time component here. You can say, 33K by July, that sort of thing. This is where that comes from, because you're looking at the median line and you're saying at a bare minimum, the expectation is a revisit to the median line. You can see we're on the underside of that currently. Overbought territory would be quite something as far as above 20s, 30s, 40s if this current rate of change holds for the Pitchfork. And again, without knowing the back testing or the forward testing and like trading this yourself, you might think this is garbage, right? This is all just voodoo nonsense, but it's kind of just math at the end of the day, just giving you probabilities for certain levels. And then ETH is living on the high side of that Pitchfork. Price discovery wouldn't be until 1200, I think was the all-time high. I can't really remember. Maybe it was like 1111 or something. So it's got a ways to go, but it's still not in any risk of being overbought at all here at the current price level. So hopefully this discussion on price discovery helps keep your head on straight, including myself, really. Like I look at this stuff for myself more than anybody to say, this is what we need to be looking at when price goes bonkers. There's hourly articles about all-time highs. People are FOMOing in. These indicators will help keep a level head during emotional trading times.